Whenever I go fishing, I always make sure I have the necessary tackle with me to tie up solid bags. The solid bag approach has to be one of the most effective ways to fish for showing carp. Now what I mean by this, if you were to see a carp show out in the lake and you're looking to effectively present a bait in that area, you don't have to use a bare lead or a marker rod to assess the lake bed in question. With your hook bait being protected in a condensed parcel of bait, there's simply no way that that hook point can get obstructed by a piece of weed or a piece of debris, so you know that that hook is able to effectively penetrate into a fish's lip. So now I'm going to talk you through exactly how to tie a solid PVA bag. First of all, the rig section. Now this is composed of armour link, which is a supple braid which is perfect as you're able to fold it neatly inside the solid PVA bag. I form an overhand loop knot to create the hair, and then I slide on a 12mm Scopex squid pop-up. This is then followed by a piece of blowout tube, where I then push the point of a size 6 claw through the tube itself. I then form a knotless knot, and at the other end I create a figure of 8 loop knot, which enables me to set the length and also means I can attach it and remove it from the swivel inside the lead very easily. Finally, I then add a split shot, as this enables me to set the height in which I wish the fish to pop up. I like it so it sits just proud of all the bait once the PVA bag has dissolved. I like to fish my rig section between 2 to 3 inches, as this gives me the perfect length to go with inside the solid bag, and it also means that that fish comes into contact with the lead a lot quicker. Where fishery rules allow, my preferred method is to fish solid PVA bags on a short section of Klingon leader using an inline lead. In this instance, I'm fishing the lead semi-fixed, as there's absolutely no need for me to drop the lead as there's no weed or snags in the lake. However, if I was to get cut off, the lead can safely eject. Now it's time to load the bag itself. There's 2 important things to consider here. You need to make sure your rig and lead system are dry, and you also need a high quality solid PVA bag. If you're looking to retie your solid bag straight after reeling in, a quick tip to make sure they dry quickly is to dip the whole setup in some stick mix. This helps to take the moisture away and prevents the bag from melting when you're tying it. Whilst on the topic of stick mix, I'll quickly walk you through exactly what I use inside my solid bag, and it couldn't be simpler. 2 ingredients: Scopex squid stick mix and Scopex squid 2mm pellet. I like to use a really small pellet as this reduces the gaps inside the bags. I then complement this with the stick mix, which means I can get a really tight condensed solid bag with very little air present. So I take my solid bag and introduce a small amount of the PVA bag mix, which creates a cushion for the lead to sit on. I then insert my lead, making sure it's sat in the centre and that my hook bait is hanging on the outside of the bag. Then, making sure that the lead and leader stay central within the bag, I fill the bag to 3/4 full. It's then time to introduce your hook bait. I like to position mine hook point facing down and to the side, as this prevents the hook from tangling around the leader when the bag dissolves. I then add the final layer of the mix just to cover the hook bait, and it's really important to note that throughout this whole process I'm always tapping the bag, pushing on the stick mix and pellet to make sure I create the most condensed parcel possible. To seal the bag, I then twist it until it's tight around the leader. This is then followed by taking a piece of PVA tape and wrapping it around the top of the bag. Finally, I neaten the bag off by trimming the excess PVA above the PVA tape, and then folding and sticking the bottom 2 corners to make it aerodynamic and ready to cast. Solid bags can be a little bit tricky to tie, but with a bit of practice you're able to make a nice condensed package ready to cast out in the lake and catch you loads of fish.